coming in with some more, not directly free sketch, but like directed free sketch for the Deathless project. Now we've warmed up, done a number of references, and getting into the theme of the story and the style of the story. Thinking like, oh, okay, what's cool? What's fun? But then even in capturing a single image of the character or an idea for a design, the spirit of the story is starting to come to me more and more and more. Where it's like, oh yeah, in this world, it would have a little bit of this style. And, starting off like, yeah, what would Yoji Shinkawa do? What would Ashley Wood do? At times, what would Juno Diaz do? What would Tarantino do? Different kinds of storytellers and designers. And yes, all those storytellers and designers, when you watch their interviews and read their books and stuff, is like, find your voice, your intuition. So while starting with emulation as the base is kind of like moving into the encouragement of our heroes to make executive decisions and start, designing our own world, trying things out that might not work. Having fun, doing experimentations. God damn, the video with Peter Hahn, man. I'm not going to go on about it for too long or anything, because we're working on networking a whole team, and I could, I'm sure I'll certainly tell him what his commentaries meant. But the one where he does the dynamic Jungi-esque, the Super Ani baseball pitch. If we could do it really quick right now. Okay. It's like one leg down, the other leg back. I think this arm is forward. It's like there. Baseball cap down, other arm just a tiny bit, and motion effects. And then he's like, I don't like that leg. I'm like, that leg looks sick. But I know what he meant. He's like, even though the actual line work and the way the brush marker landed on the leg and defined the anatomy was so good. But he's like, the movement of it doesn't capture the image in his mind that he had, which is something sometimes I'll struggle with. I'll be like, oh, but it looks so nice. But the way that he's just very honest about being uncomfortable with drawing these different types of things. It's still like getting out of his comfort zone, and an artist of that level of mastery still being like, I feel fear out here taking these steps, and he does it, man. Is like, that's probably never going to go away. But when you move through this fear, just like the old Neil Gaiman adage, like courage is not absence of fear. Courage is moving through the fear, even though you have it. It's just like the base definition of what courage is. I do have a fun little story from tonight. Oh man, I don't know if we should tell it here. But we have a pretty good Deputy Aru story from Twitch. Going into a random chat late at night and being like, what kind of shenanigans can we cause? Not even properly shenanigans, but just like, not troublemaking. Not troublemaking. Make a lot of trouble for a not troublemaker. We just wrote a fun little fan fiction story in the chat. Well, someone in the chat was like, someone's wrote a fiction about this streamer and themselves in a story. And then because I've been doing all this storytelling stuff, we're like, I bet we can write the craziest little tiny mini story about like self and streamer that like creates a scene and then diverges from the expectations. Do that a couple times. It's got a bit where we're like, because I'm like, okay, there's just a little like line, like a little note. And when you do this, make sure it is a coded compliment if someone's like, oh, what? This is obscene. This person wrote an entire paragraph into a chat space. Make sure that anyone who actually reads it, it is genuine feedback and encouragement, where at first you might be like, wait, what? But there's something in there that lets them know that you're voting on them, that you care, that you want to see them kick ass and do good. That's the stream thing. But always make it unique. Always make it unique to whoever you are with and whatever chat you're in. Is like, you can do that in a million different ways for a million different people by quieting your mind and being intuitive and just kind of leaning into that. Now, we did have a bit where we're like, it is the exact scenario from Whisker Away, and she's there, and I'm a cat because I had to be like selfing. And then the mafia comes in and kidnaps her. As a cat, gotta get her help. Because, you know, aliens are trying to kidnap her to make clones of her that they could make into sex slaves. Right? So it taps into the fandom of RHN. She's always doing sexy little bumps on her social media. It's like the aliens saw that and was like, that's what we need. That will solve our problems. We just have to capture and clone her. But then, you know, through being that subversion of that, right? Like, what? These pervy aliens can't get Aru? Yo, she's badass. She's cool. She's a beast. So in that way, we support her true self. And if there was any pervy energy out there, we could kind of gang stomp it with the little story. Because it was like, you know, a bunch of aliens try to kidnap her at first. And then the mafia tries to kidnap her because they've been hired by the fucking aliens from earlier. And the mafia actually gets it. So one scene is her just murking a whole bunch of aliens inside of a retro arcade, where it's like colored light from the arcade machines. I mean, the idea is color, so that, you know, it could have dynamic shading of like purples and greens and flashing colors on both sides, like Cyberpunk, while she's just murking aliens. And their blood's all super colorful, so it's a pretty scene, even though it's just brutal. Like Samurai Jack was a show where it's like, it was a Y7 show, but it had the most amount of dismemberments of like any anime from the era, because they had oils and pipes and alien blood in the place of real gore. So it's a beautiful like painted color festival of her murdering aliens. And, you know, I'm like, okay, it's me and Aru, and we're in this place. And then aliens attack, and anyone would be like, and then you save Aru, and you look like a boss. And I'm like, I try and keep out of the way and give Aru a weapon so she can go crazy. And then I get a random anime guy and scratch his face all up, because I'm like, this guy will be able to punch the car and create a hole in the car, because she's been kidnapped and trunked. And he just gets hit by the car and run over. But then we get her bonds freed. And that's just like in the style of the chat. Kind of dark comedy. But for a younger audience, but an all ages audience. I feel like some like dark comedy is for a younger audience. Like, I feel like It's Always Sunny or something. It's a crazy, you know, outlandish, bombastic, fucking wild show in terms of the content. Big with the kids, huge with the kids. Or like Rick and Morty or something, just the youth vote. I was even surprised when Rick and Morty came out, because I was an adult then. And I was like, this show's great, this is adult animation. All the kids in the world. They blew up. But it's a thing. You can like Rick and Morty no matter what your age is. And the way that they improvised the entire idea for the first season is still one of my storytelling inspirations, which is probably why I brought it up. They're like, you can just improvise a whole entire world and scenario with like movie-like things and jokes and turnarounds just right there. Like, oh my God. So like, okay, I wrote it and did a follow-up. And we'll see. Maybe we'll do a video on the Arufic. Probably not, but I like to remind people that the controller of life is in their hands. I like this little touch-up stuff. You want to still try to be diligent, but not too diligent. Just to be able to work back and forth. It doesn't really matter. Like, wouldn't it be cool if we could capture another fun piece of design that completes herself just a little bit more, a little bit of character. We already have so much good design and character. So just like any kind of micro touch that would make her a little bit more unique. The double cat's like cross on the face, I think it's cool. I like the white hair and the scars. Like, no lie, we're gonna try and do enough innovative stuff to be able to earn that well-used stuff. Because that's usually a pretty good rule of thumb, is if you're gonna use something that everyone's seen quite a bit of, do a lot of other things so that you're like, okay, well, those things were kind of similar to Witcher, but totally different. I always liked the idea. The first time I imagined her was like dark roots with white hair, and I was like, fuck. Because if you're doing Yoji Shinkawa style, there's a lot of hard black and whites where you have the shadow areas really like intensely defined, and just that creating quick dimensionality on her hair in a comic book way where it's like really, really quick. It works crazy good. And it's got that punk rock bleached kind of not giving a fuck thing. But at the time I couldn't wrap my head around it. I was like, what, how, like if the thing made her hair turn white, then, but recently I'm kind of just like, well, if she died and then went through this massive like charge of energy, it turned all of her hair white. But as her cellular regeneration has been not only reactivated, but quite improved, it's crazy now, then her hair would have turned white, but then also is now coming in regular color. Ta-da! I like that we could also not know why, or that the scientist was like, you should look like a badass superhero because you're going to take these fuckers. So he had her gear, like, you will look like a ghost. We could still use that for something, but I think that just that's how she looks is a good deal. White on the outside, black on the inside. Combat trench. I really like the Yeezus Ashley Wood trench coat. So of course those things are like symbols of strength for me. And I'd never seen a video game character. To this day, I've never seen a video game character that wears this fit. I'm like, yo, with all those Ashley Wood like figures and the Yeezus concept things, I'm like, maybe there's someone that kind of rocks it, but it's different. And I like the off-white weird size. Like immediately you kind of think of like Silent Hill, right? Off-white things with a strange size. And, you know, she navigates a world of horror and nightmares. So Silent Hill was kind of like a background stylistic influence and still is. I mean, not even like background, but being like, we're doing a Tarantino type samurai Western story, but then like Silent Hill elements and flavors to add and enhance. Where the style is definitely like, you know, stylish, good time. Like even Westerns, while they're really hardcore scenarios, is like, they are still a good time. And I like that. But having also horror-esque things in there, when you listen to Halsey, especially that first album, you listen to Halsey and you're like, she could take some horror movie scenarios, you know? She's a badass. So can she. And that's like something for the little short story we're planning. I don't know if we'll call it Bloodshot. Bloodshot's a cool name because it, you know, there's shooting. She's a crack shot. There's a lot of blood. You know, it's a bloody path. But also her eyes are quite bloodshot from being like, you know, wired all the time to this machine that she is, and being in the middle of these intense, chaotic situations, and getting fucked up when she can't, because it's hard for her to calm down or relax at all. So it's like sex and alcohol and drugs when she gets to places, just so that she can cool this superhero machine in her brain, and the intense amounts of violence that surround her quest. And it's also just her character choices, going through a lot of pain. So it's like all these things that come together. She has low impulse control, you know, very low impulse control. I was watching Santa Clarita Diet with Timothy Olyphant. Very good. Drew Barrymore. He kind of gets a zombie wife. And that was not what I imagined when I listened to Zombie Lady. It's so good, though. Just the character dynamics between them. I'm like, he looks so cute and fun. I'll check it out. And he is so cute and fun. And I mean, I've seen Drew Barrymore in everything. But unique role. Unique role from Barrymore, you know? Like, she's not just, like, looking like Adam Sandler's, I don't know, girlfriend turned wife or something. She's, like, this funny, spastic, just neat person. And they have so much fun with it. It's such, like, not to be taken seriously, but then still captures human moments where there's some really sweet, heartfelt stuff where you're like, oh my God, it's like family and marriage, and they're taking a unique perspective. Like, no matter what happens, you gotta figure it out. And sometimes you might not know the way forward, but you gotta one step at a time. Like, what? Zombie scenario. So good, so good. She has no impulse control, and that's something they said was like one of the themes of like when the story came together, was they were like, zombies are kind of like, you know, they just go for what they want immediately. They can't control it. But that creating a fresh spark of life, even where it's nuanced and layered, where you're like, oh, that's going to be a horrible scenario, but then maybe not. Okay, we're just doing a little bit of Wastelander armors here. I'm trying to keep track of how to do it, though. I'll go back and rewatch the video to be like pads of leather and metal in a good sense of patterning. But then if you do a design for a character, you'd have to keep it all of the time and make it consistent. Although if you're using Ashley Wood brush effects, you would just have to keep the main biggest shapes consistent. And some of the details could be like, you know, brushed and drawn in. If you had one core image, the way the light hit the design and made different types of patterning pop, and being able to have a little bit of abstract wiggle room in there could enable you to move really quick. You'd have high mobility, and that'd be fucking awesome. Let's see, let's give this girl a power fist. A Fallout type. Power fist. Then thinking an electric thing, right? How to learn electricity designs. Look at Masashi Kishimoto. Draw electric designs. When Sasuke's coming in with whatever the thing's called. What's the fucking... He has an electric arm, like electric sword arm stab move that is rival to Rasengan. Chidori. Okay, with something like that, she could have a pack on the back and then like a wire thing attaching down and over. Deathless is a really, really good shot too. So she would shoot that thing and then take the, you know, wire that's broken off and like stab it into her eye or something, right? But I think this character could be a friend to Deathless. She's a bounty hunter or something, she'd just be... Not that Deathless can't get outmatched, but by just base humans, it would be very hard for her to get outmatched. She's here to fight like the heavy-hitting wasteland monster things that you fight in the end of Fallout. But of course, it is a human story. It's not like Fallout. It's not like, oh, she's higher level. It could be like something hits her at the exact wrong time and one person gets the jump on her and it's like game over for mission. A little bit, a little bit. I feel like if you are intuitive, and history actually backs this, where you're like, what? Any single person in history, you could just kill them. You could just one shot, they are dead. There's so many people. There's so many people dying. There's so much chaos. If someone's like has animosity against them, you're like, you think it would be so dangerous. But you're not really thinking about the laws of attraction when you think about that. Unless you think about it too much, in which case, yeah, you get Lenin type scenarios. You definitely get Juice WRLD type scenarios. Or just, no, he does do a lot of drugs at first, and it seems to be giving him superpowers. But then he calls out his own death by overdose like 50 times in his discography at least. I'm like, dude, it's almost like the laws of attraction happen. There's so many photos of him where he's like acting like he's ODing. He called that so hard. And it makes you kind of just like, I wish someone could have started a different momentum and direction that could have, saved a life. But there's so many calls in his music where you're like, oh no, man, you might want to predict and prophesize in your favor of what you want. Okay, maybe she's got a laser Gatling. If she's got a shock glove, it'd be cool if she had a not shock Gatling. Okay, we just want this Deathless image to look good though. If we're doing a short story, maybe we still call her Vengeance. As just like a shout out to the whole original idea. We're thinking of doing a Nightmare Machine story. I was using AIs to just generate some content and being like, what if this happened? Like there's this super soldier and there's a valuable weapon on a train and she's got to get there. How's it play out? I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool. There's a couple things there that are quite cool. And we'll take those, change around the placement of them, and go back in for some storytelling and design that sets the whole thing up, and you can capture a few moments. That is where I find it is best and most beneficial for me to use AIs, is like you have a pretty good idea, but use it for a way to bounce ideas around and just get more, and then you are the composer of the ideas the same way as if you're searching through designs. Like base designs, not like other people's stuff. But you can look at art style and way people's are rendering things. If you have skilled designers, they'll go in and recreate the thing. We have to come up with one consistent coat design. I mean, I'm thinking that at least she could have her first coat that goes through a number of adventures, and it's her signature outfit so that, you recognize her immediately. She'd stand out in Smash Bros. And then for a point, in the midpoint, she'd lose her coat and get a different outfit. And then a little while later, like there'd be at least one outfit there, she gets a very similar coat, but an upgraded version. And she's like, oh, my shit. Or she might not even be like that. She'd be like, yeah, this is the fit. But the other guy would be like, her fit, yo. Okay. We did have fun with the Aru thing. I'm always like, oh my god, I hope no one minded. I don't mean to, spoil anyone's fun. I look like, who is this asshole? But then I'm just like, if anyone who read it is like, it's a fun, funny, encouraging thing, that shouts out Aru. And was also trying to do the complex things where it's like, to be like, nah, don't sexualize Aru or act like she's these things, because she's a badass and she deserves, love and respect and goodness. And that's the third act of the Aru story, where she learns that the aliens actually had kidnapped and cloned her so many times over the years, and that there is like, thousands or millions of Aru sex slaves on. We edit that out, but it's pretty clear what we write, you wouldn't go in and say that shit. But if you had a bunch of edited spaces, it's good. And, you know, they're like, but the problem with these clones is they die if they don't get Aru's genetic material. So we're not trying to kidnap her for that, but to get the salve so that we can keep our Aru sex slaves. And she's like, what the fuck? That's not right. And she leads an Aru uprising with all of the clones on the alien world, where she's like, you guys gotta fucking get out. They're all her, you know? She wants to see them stream and game and be happy as much as she does herself. So it's a story of self-love. But then, you know, also for everyone to get more empathy. Like, oh, Ari deserves good things. And is a fighter that could have a rebellion to free all of herself from this alien planet. And then she's like, I'll take all you guys back to Earth, be the super community. And they're like, we actually love this alien planet. It's been our whole home, you know? We just have to change it so that we're not getting raped all the time. You know? Like, that's not their whole existence. So they get rights and they be running things. And she changes the world. And some people are, whatever, imprisoned. And there's world change. And she goes back knowing that all of those R's are not her friends. We still have kind of unclear. She's supposed to wear like form-fitting, but yet kinda combat protective vest type deal. There's also the version where we gave her cleavage and it kind of just works. I'm like, she couldn't have cleavage. She could, you know, catch a stray bullet. It's like, no, she can't. She's fucking deathless. I get the feeling that it would be a good idea to give her some cleavage if we're really going for the Shinkawa and Wood style. You're like, why? She's like, it's comfortable. You know, deathless, don't be giving a fuck. It could give her attack advantage as well, and she's there for every attack advantage, and just if something was more comfortable or looked cool to her, she'd go for it. So maybe not a good reason to give her just like blown cleavage all the time, but sometimes. It's like a Kojima thing, you know? Naomi Hunter, she goes in, unzips her, you know, shirt below the breast. And then Eva in Metal Gear 3 unzips her jumpsuit all the way to the pelvis. Yeah, they made a lot of money and had a lot of fun with those designs, but then the actual story-changing, tear-jerking moments of those characters, and like, okay, you're defying expectation with this thing. Pretty cool. It's already doing that a little bit. Okay, more lashes, more feminine, more dark, more eyes halfway closed, less masculine. There we go. Yeah, I hope there's some fans of the Arufic out there. We could do some illustration for Arufic. Maybe. If we get work done. We're already getting work done. I'd kind of like to have someone to bounce ideas off of with the coat. If possible, though, I'd like the creative sovereignty to design this one thing. Where it's like, if someone else designed a cooler coat, I'd want to use it, but if I was like, yeah, that looks really cool, but I mean, I would want to have my preference of a designer for like that one thing. Maybe not. Like if someone really fucking engaged with it and did a solid and proved how much they love, and you know, I'm always malleable when it comes to things like that. Yeah, good shape design. Supposed to have shoulder holsters, but can you believe it? I'm kind of thinking like shoulder holsters on that coat would be kind of large and unruly. But some blacks and whites, like black strappage over the off-white. Sometimes I overdo it. We're kind of just like the all off-white visage. Like, here, let's try to do a little like Vengeance approaches. Like her hair down and haggard walk. You know, she's been walking for miles. Coat's like really big, kind of bulky. Bunch of pockets on the sides for all the tack gear. Something like that. And like strap, different strap, the silhouette at a distance, making this kind of blocky, oversized thing. And then like that was the idea, but it's definitely good to make it a little bit more form-fitting. And then like stylish paneling. A little bit more form-fitting, just like in there, but still keeping the baggy, oversized, weird fit. Gun. Heat guard. Strap. That's pretty cool. I just make her head a little bit smaller. I'm trying to keep good dimensions of like what is form here. Pulling that a little bit. And then that at the bottom is a strap. I wonder if Cynics or Med will work with us. Fengzi. Or all the above, and different kind of Cynics Med developing teams and projects for things, and a larger outreach towards Fengzi School, so that we're kind of, you know, when we have ideas and techniques, we can delegate them and integrate them into the actual scene of arts and design. I've got so much respect for the independent though. Like obviously Fengzi's got outreach and support, and they've got so many fans and good technique and experience that it's like really good to integrate. But like certainly you could say the same thing for Cynics and Med. It's just like we want to make things that do have like real world production experience, but I think doing a series of Kickstarter campaigns and working with other people like Feng maybe, who have done those things, that the insights and the skill base of Cynics and Ahmed would be even greater, would be more substantial, would be like, instead of getting the same perspective as all of those mainstream production guys, you're getting a new perspective of the independent arts education, art for love, and all these things that make it really pop. Because we're not just trying to make like, you know, of course we're trying to make good stories, we're trying to make new stories. Okay, so like, let's see, head there, guns up. One single gun up, we can make it the same frame. try and capture the figure, and then just crazy bulky oversize over her very lithe, slim, athletic figure. Yeah, she's super lithe and slim and athletic. Thinking that she is a soldier. You're like, what? You said that she was going to be a sex slave. I'm like, yeah, okay. She's from a village somewhere and is captured by, renegade marauders or bandits or someone, and goes through a period in her childhood that's very harsh and traumatic in all kinds of ways, that is respectful of reality. You always want to, you can play for theme, and you can do whatever in a B movie where it's like, you're just going as far over the top as you can. But I like to try and make characters and stories that have integrity, where if someone had been through trauma and they saw your representation of something that was traumatic in the story, they wouldn't be like, that fucking sucked. And they'd be like, yeah, that's good. Like, not in a way that says that you're damaged or broken, but also that it was real difficult and all these things. But then, because she was powerless for a time, she's like going to learn some basic fighting experience to be part of like a militia or something. Because, honestly, it'd be hard to go through a super weapon program if you didn't have any combat experience. You need to know a little bit. Now it looks like a crossbow. Heat guard. Strap. Stock. Yeah. Clip. And we'll have a handle. Submachine gun. The round. Heat-guarded thing. Even this could be a little bit more baggy. Like the sleeve coming out like that. That is the kind of cut. Yeah, this is fun for Deathless collaborators. We could, we gonna call it Deathless. But we might do like Vengeance in the Sand or something as the first story. We might even keep her character name as Vengeance and have a different continuity. I think that'd be fun. Because then when you're like, oh, okay, at first you'd be like, yeah, Vengeance sounds fucking cool. That's hard and shit. But then coming back, you're like, yeah, it was hard the first few times, but she has to like respond to this. It is her alias in this place. I checked back in the day and was like, are there any comic book characters named Vengeance? You have to do that. And there was like no one. So I was like, okay, that's pretty cool. Like it's distinct. Like you might be like, oh, that's a classic thing, but there are no comic book characters named Vengeance. Yeah, okay. Arms going up and forward. And then we have to change the perspective a little. It's good. Yeah, some bullets going like different directions. It's a very low accurate submachine gun. That one popped. To draw the muzzle flash things is the funnest thing. I'm trying to integrate some Ashley Wood into the Shiramiwa. It almost looks like an energy weapon now, though. I'm like, it might not be bad to ever have an energy weapon. Kind of a deal. Especially if it was like, I don't know if you saw the Arnold Schwarzenegger movie with the, not Total Recall, the one with the railguns. Eraser Man? I don't know what it's called. There's a movie where they deal with like the government is developing fucking rail guns that like electromagnetically like supercharge these metal fragments and then just like superconductive fire these deadly fragments at such velocity that it's also like explosive and goes through all armor. We need to make money. Who would be down to invest? It's such a... I'm going to start up an arts investment association. I swear to fucking God. People are going to be like, whoa, that's such a good idea when you make a whole bunch of money. Because you'll be like, okay, can you do the work? Do you need a space? It's like, yeah, I need the tools and space and time to be able to develop a Kickstarter thing. And even if you just went in with like 10% returns on your investment... and time, and you just check up with them, you'd also give them the educational resources and the professional type like feedback from story creators. Like, is this a story with real promise? Does this story promise need work? Because for so long I've been in this situation where I've been like, I've got real good ideas, but I need a window of skills to develop them to make them into super profitable ideas that I could use to then sustain myself. And it's like to be able to just have that go ahead. That'd be awesome. It'd be so good. Still, I'm kind of like, Brandon Sanderson doesn't exactly have a place to send those things, or like other artists and designers are kind of like, I want to create that space. And I think other people do as well. When you find a way of framing it where it's like, yeah, hell yeah, that'd be good for everyone, especially the landscape of storytelling and design. Okay, that's too much. Sometimes you overwork something because you're talking. What are we at? We're 42. We're at 42. Okay, we should go. We'll do some quickies. Okay. So her Ashley Wood is so good at just capturing these wild silhouettes. It'd be fun to have a little bit of that, but then still ground with like anatomy and free perspective. But try to capture some wood silhouettes. It'd be cool if the coat like bent in ways. Sometimes you see cool people's designs like Noctis in Final Fantasy 15 and Final Fantasy 13 Lightning Versus. Their silhouettes look really good at all different three-dimensional angles. If you ever played a Genshin Impact, totally go in and check their characters from every single angle. That was when I started liking the game. It was like, okay, these guys are made to look good from every way that you possibly turn it. Especially from the top down and the back. You're like, what are all of the patterns doing on the back? Because you're gonna have to look at the back of the character the entire time. And there's always this stylish mix of patterning and colors and the way everything moves. You're like, oh, that's cool. There's a lot of mastery of design that goes into Genshin Impact. I mean, that's like the main thing that sells the game. So like, we better be able to design some cool characters. Black on the inside. Just like her heart. Nah, she's not black on the inside. You know, it's kind of hard to start a conversation with like, I know you like the arts and will be able to pay back and have, you know, a lot of dreams, put in a lot of time, can see it and feel it in my mind's eye. And it's so goddamn beautiful. I want to fucking share it, you know? Not just the dreams of Deathless, but dreams of the arts production company and cartoons that haven't existed yet, collaborations and late nights and people coming together to put their skill sets to new dynamic use, making things we've never seen before. Oh, you know that's a good walking gun. When it starts like that, you're like, oh, I'm done. Yeah, talking about money is not my favorite thing in the world to do, although I should try and change that so that it is. And we can get in there and really optimize our workflow, our progress, our output, the creative output in terms of things like high quality video, in terms of having a good computer that can collect and, navigate lots of files. So many things. Oh, that's cool. It might not capture all of it, but gotta be moving forward. Yeah, I hold no ill will to anyone about anything. It's just hard to not get down on myself for having not made it yet. That kind of almost looks like getting down on other people when they see you. So it's not a healthy, pragmatic. It's not a pragmatic solution. Okay, big old ammo box somewhere. I don't fucking know. That one's done. Yeah, I don't know. Oh, now it's kind of gone away. Mecha Pro, come in, do your magic. Please. If possible, also give them strength and weaknesses and imagine them in an interactive game environment. Even just for the sake of the manga, having really, really good continuity, where it's like, oh, that's the threat levels of this thing. This is her abilities. Then when we wouldn't even have to explain why she's throwing the grenade there, running in, using that as cover to get to the key opening where she can like ghost in the shell these things with a 50 cal. You just be like, oh yeah, we already explained their power levels. They have very few weaknesses. She's, got people coming at her from that side. Nice. Capture some circular type glare. Cool. Drum under the... No, that's a missile launcher. I shouldn't have a drum. Whatever, I'm gonna leave it there. Okay, we're gonna call it super good. A little window of Deathless here. Really fun. We're gonna do other dynamic characters that rival her coolness. I mean, obviously she's very special, but there's, gonna be crazy showdowns and such. It is a popcorn action value story as well. At least it should be at times. This Electra bitch. We wouldn't really call her Electra bitch. Deathless and Vengeance are already pretty blown. There should be like one strand of hair going or something. All right, peace and love. Oh no, we gotta hit this. There you go. Still beautiful. I mean, characters being beautiful aren't really that. I mean, I do like the way that she has a lot of beauty for like a really kind of messed up world. I don't know, it makes sense to me that it happened that way a little bit. We all like beautiful people. But also sometimes, you know, if you like Emma Watson, but also read The Hunger Games, you're like, could she go through the hell and survive and still become a hero? I like to see that. Not just Emma Watson, but obviously Kristen Stewart is already into hardcore stuff. Or Cara Delevingne. My favorite people. But just in terms of having a unique look and appearance and stuff. But as far as like video game characters and cartoon characters, oftentimes we use a type of anatomy, a type of cartooning that is general. It's generalized. And you put 100 different faces together, they look very attractive. Because it's just like in every person, everyone can see themselves in this person. You don't look special or unique in a lot of cases. You look kind of generic, which makes it a kind of stealth. You blend in, but yet you're captivating, and you're an object if you have beauty. It's not just like, you're beautiful, it's going to be valuable to you, but you're beautiful, you could be valuable to someone else. And it comes with a lot of weird double-edged swords. Like the lives of models and stuff is like, I've had some people be like, you should pick up modeling. And I'd be like, I want to be an artist. Like, honestly, I wouldn't mind modeling anything. That would be the coolest way to make extra money. Oh my God. All my heroes were just artists, and they fucking saved me, you know, when I was a kid, when I was down and out. You know, it was not clothes, it was not modeling, it was my games and my stories and my heroes. And in that place, it was like I definitely didn't feel like special or gifted or any kind of thing, but just down in the dumps with, you know, trauma on all sides and not a lot of good examples. And being like the miracle of my stories and games and shows, it's fucking saved me, man. It gave me a higher path. It gave me something to be grateful for every single day and something to pray towards. I mean, it's something that you can't put a price on. All right. We're gonna go with this. I could keep on just adjusting and tweaking the tiny nuances of character. But we should move on and come back. That is the way. That is the way. Gion Somi. Love you.